Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing the Raiders and what's going on between JPJ and the coaching staff. Something's been going on since the beginning of the season. Nobody really knows what it is. Nobody's really speaking about it. But we as fans, we see it. The media sees it. Even the media that works for the Raiders see it. So let's get to the videos. The first video I'm going to show you is from Silver and Black Today. It's a podcast. And the second video is going to be from the Raiders Squad Show. Yeah, these guys are analysts, they're reporters, and one is a former Raiders offensive lineman, all pro. So take a look, take a listen, and see for yourself, because everybody's seeing what's going on with JPJ. And then we'll analyze as we go along, and I'll wrap it all up with a conclusion. All right, let's go.
Then you see the Jackson Powers Johnson stuff, the only guy who gets benched. Alex Kappa looked like crap. You had Forsyth again. It's just, I don't understand it, dude. Explain it to me how one guy gets punished, but the whole unit stinks.
This was my back and forth, because there were some people on Twitter that said, well, JPJ wasn't playing well. And my counter to that was, well, how many guys, who exactly was playing great against the Chiefs? And then why is it that JPJ is singled out? You know, I can name, people was saying, well, again, he didn't play well. I can name two people that should have probably lost their job weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And we talk about this frequently on the show. There are guys that should have lost their jobs weeks ago.
Geno Smith, maybe? I don't know. Where's his competition? You know, he's playing the worst on the team. Where's his competition?
But their job security, as far as we know, Scott, is secure. They've been playing 100% of the snaps, or most of the snaps, 90+% of the snaps. Why is it that JPJ is entering the season in the competition and he's one of the first guys to get benched? And by the way, JPJ has had some good games this season at guard.
Yes.
If you look at, I think it was Mark John of Tape Don't Lie reposted JPJ's win block rate, right? And it was top 10.
Yeah.
So it apparently the JPJ at guard was working, but the minute things go sideways, oh, JPJ's got to hit the bench. Why? That sounds like a personal beef to me, Scott.
And that's what we thought weeks ago when this all went down, right? We said it was personal. And you look at it, and
now we know there's reports from other players who say Chip Kelly has his favorite guys, and also from the Seahawks that say Pete has his favorite guys. So are they playing favorites? I don't know.
And it's so beyond the pale. It's almost like harassment, like bullying. I mean, I hate to use that for such a big dude and an adult man who's making good money, but that's what it seems to me, because like you said, there's guys on that line should have lost their job. Who on the offense played well yesterday? You should have benched every single friggin' starter. I'm telling you, something is not right. Something is completely off with what's happening on the field and what's happening in the front office.
Who knows? You know, we're losing a lot of games, so is everything right in the locker room? Are guys getting pissed off? Yeah, I bet they are.
Pete Carroll asked on Monday, might there be more personnel changes coming up? Yeah, well, those competitions are ongoing. What competitions? Like you said, the only person who ever gets benched is JPJ. So I don't understand where's these competitions, and aren't you supposed to do that in camp? Now, you have a player struggling. There's been no competition at quarterback.
I believe Pete Carroll came out and said that, yeah, we're playing young players. And that couldn't be the biggest lie ever told to Raider Nation. Yeah, we're playing young players. So where's Darian Porter? Where are the two offensive linemen that you drafted in the third round? Where's Tonka Hemingway? Where's JJ Pegues?
Those guys are inactive every single game.
Where are these guys? Because as you said, it can't be any worse. But even if it can be, at least those guys are learning and could get better.
Correct.
Versus Jamal Adams, who's about 30 years old and at the end of his career, versus Alex Kappa, who's coming off his worst season and still not a good offensive lineman. We've seen enough of those guys. Bring in the young guys, because the ceiling, the upside, could be untapped. And you could have a much better player down the line if those guys get their early snaps in their careers. Why are you holding out Darian Porter when we can clearly see, and I hate to pick on him, we can clearly see Kyu Blue Kelly is getting torched.
Just shows there's a lack of not creating a system where your player is playing where they could be successful versus making them play in a system because you want to play that system.
All right. So they kind of wrapped it up. Both of these guys are Raider fans. They've been Raider fans all their lives. And like I said, the reporters, Mo Moten works for Bleacher Report. He's in the building. And then, so who knows what's going on? But something's not right in the locker room. Something's not right with JPJ and the coaching staff from the beginning. Right? Why is that? Why'd they bring Alex Kappa in to compete for a starting role? Who knows? All right, let's move on. The next video is going to be the Raider squad show.
If they traded JPJ,
I'm out on this conversation. I'm out.
okay, no, listen, because I don't know what's going on over there, but something is going on, and I'm trying to figure it out. And it's like, what's going on with the coaching staff and JPJ?
You see, everybody sees it. It's not just the fans. It's not, it's everybody. Everybody knows something's going on.
Because not only is the O-line struggling, but you want to trade away one of your most talented pieces on the O-line. This is the O-line that doesn't have depth, and there's something going on where I don't want to say, like, I don't want to be messy here, but they're not seeing eye to eye. Like, for some strange reason, I don't think JPJ and this coaching staff are seeing eye to eye. That's very, very clear. So would he also possibly be on the move? What do you guys think?
Let me jump in real quick. And I said I'm out because I had mentioned that on the last show that we did, right? I mentioned that JPJ, for every reason that you said, and for some reason people think I want to see him traded. I think he's the second best offensive lineman that they have. I would hate to see him traded. I think it's dumb.
I think we all know that he's the second best offensive lineman on the team behind Colton Miller. Everybody knows that. And they're the only two guys on the team that can really block.
Right? I don't know what the disconnect is, but it's obvious, right? I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that there's an issue, right? And I don't know what the issue is. I'm around the damn team all the time. I don't know what the issue is, but something's there. So that's why I said there's a slight chance that if a team comes calling that, maybe Seattle, who just dropped their offensive lineman, maybe they want, I don't know. But if they're not seeing eye to eye, I could see them saying, hey, instead of having to answer the question about why ain't JPJ doing this or why ain't JPJ doing that, let's remove the situation. I could see it. I'm not rooting for it at all. That's why I said I'm out of the conversation, because I don't want to come off and have that perception that Q's trying to suggest he needs to be moved. No, I think it's dumb. You don't get rid of talented players. You don't get rid of your good players, and he's as close to a blue chip player I think that the Raiders have, and they don't have that many of them. But that's, to your point, everything that you just said is the reason why I think that there's a chance that it could happen.
Colton Miller is their best offensive lineman on the roster. And I think he's coming to the end of his career. I don't think he's going to be playing that much longer after, seeing how these injuries have racked up. JPJ is your next best lineman. Mm-hmm. And we're already talking about offensive line play as porous as it's been. I feel for the young man, because this second-year guy went up against two all-pro defensive tackles back-to-back weeks, and the offense did not give him any help. They did not address the situation that you had all-pro at defensive tackle. Hey, let's help out our young guard by doing some things differently, some tandem blockings, try to put it on those defensive tackles so they just didn't tee back their ears and rush the quarterback. Didn't happen. So I don't know what's going on in the locker room with JPJ. I really don't. But you can't get rid of him. You can't get rid of him. You cannot get rid of him. He is going to be the mainstay, the main focal point for the future of this offensive line and this Raider team. And you have to build around that. But he also has to be on the field. So whatever JPJ is doing to keep himself off the field, or whatever he's getting into the locker room, whatever's happening needs to be ironed out and fixed. Because, look, Alex Kappa is not the answer. And so stop bringing him in games. I don't know what's going on, but they got.
Yeah, stop bringing Alex Kappa in the games and stop trying to pass him the ball on the 3-yard line on first down.
Stop bringing him in games. He's not the answer. You need to figure what's going on with your second best offensive lineman and keep him happy.
All right, there you heard it from very reliable sources. Like I said, analysts, reporters, guys that are in the building. Lincoln Kennedy is an all-pro tackle, played for the Raiders. So, he knows exactly what's going on. These are my top two podcasts to listen to and to watch is Silver and Black Today and the Raiders Squad Show. I also watch Locked On Raiders with Q Myers. So these guys, like I said, they're in the building. They see it. We see it. We don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, the only thing I can figure is that they're playing favorites. And that's not good for the locker room. You know, other guys see it. Max Crosby and JPJ are really close. Max even said it on his podcast that they have become very close. They weren't very close the first season, but they've developed a really good relationship and they're really good friends and they're close. You know what? When other players see what's going on with the coaching staff and JPJ or any other player, if you're playing favorites, you know, if you're trying to ostracize somebody, other guys see it and it messes up the locker room. It messes up the locker room. Our O-line stinks. Okay? Colton Miller's injured. JPJ's the only guy we got on the team that can frickin' block. Yeah, Chris Jones did beat JPJ 3 times. The other against the Chiefs when we got blown out. But he wasn't the only one that got beat. DJ Glaze got beat many times. Parham was getting beat all the time. Forsyth was getting beat. Meredith was missing assignments. And JPJ's the only one that they take out of the game. I don't know what's going on, but Pete needs to fix it. Whatever's going on, Pete needs to fix it. If something's going on with Chip Kelly and the offense, Pete needs to address it. And Spytek, what's Spytek been doing this whole time? This is what happens when you have a brand new GM, especially like John Spytek. Yeah, he was an assistant in Tampa Bay. But this is his first time in the role as general manager. And then you have a 74-year-old Hall of Fame head coach who's won a Super Bowl and 2 national championships. It can be intimidating for Spytek, right? Tyler Lockett just got signed today. Do you think that's Spytek's choice? I'll tell you what, that was Pete Carroll's choice to bring Lockett over. 33-year-old wide receiver. Bring him over. Put him into the mix. You think Geno Smith was Spytek's choice? No, that was Pete Carroll's choice. All these guys from Seattle, no, those aren't Spytek's choices. Those are Pete Carroll's choices. Okay, so let's see what we can do this week. We got the Jaguars on Sunday. Let's pray that whatever's going on gets fixed, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because Chip Kelly, your offense is straight trash. And Geno, he ain't playing good under your offense. So let's cater that offense to the strengths of the players that you do have instead of feeding your own ego and pride. All right, we'll see you on the next video. And hopefully we win on Sunday.